Back with you and hitting hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you get there, hit that subscribe button. Free and available on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Download us, leave us a 5-star review, and of course, follow me on my Twitter page at JMCH316. So the Hawks now, with their latest draft pick signing to a multi-year contract, Martin signs for multiple years now, and they've got everybody under contract. Right now, the Hawks are sitting in a place where they have 3 roster spots, okay? Now, 2 of those, though, are two-way contract players. So they have 1 full roster spot eligible player available. So at this point, I don't think that we're going to see any other changes, things like that. Obviously, Aiton, with the Pacers and all that stuff, I didn't think he was a fit. Didn't really like the idea of bringing him in anyway. And at this point, and this is going to be, I can't wait for this narrative, by the way. John Collins is going to be an Atlanta Hawk. Now, that goes 180 degrees opposite of what the Blue Check media told me. Because first off, Blue Check media said draft night they're trading Collins. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Then they said, well, yeah, he's going to be here for now, but he's getting traded for sure. I guarantee he's getting traded. Okay, well, he ain't getting traded at this point. Unless the Durant deal comes down in the next couple of days here, he ain't getting traded. So that's not going to happen. Now, Hawks have 1 full roster spot available. I'm going to give you a name of a guy that's out there because at this point, you're not looking at you're going to add anybody of super high caliber, superstar player. We're not obviously going to sign a guy who's going to be any kind of big contract type of guy or whatever like that. They're pretty much at their cap spending. What about bringing back Paul Millsap? Now, Paul Millsap did play for a couple different teams last year, including the 76ers. Look, last year he was about like 4 points, 4 rebounds a game, okay? You're talking about at this point rounding out your roster spot. Could Paul Millsap be a guy at whatever, I think it's 37 years old, that comes in and just gives John Collins a few minutes break? Because obviously, if this team is going to get to where it needs to be, we've talked about the idea of Hunter and Collins have to play this year. Okay? Now, you can look at me cross-eyed and all that kind of stuff, but those guys have to be 75 game players this year, or this thing ain't going where it's supposed to go. If those guys are 58, 56 game players this year, we're going to be right back in the same boat of trying to figure out what our footing is and not our full complement of players. But what about Paul Millsap? Obviously, 4-time All-Star, spent his time here in Atlanta, was part of that 60-win team, right, that made the run to the only other Eastern Conference Finals team that got swept by LeBron. Obviously, I understand. He's at the end of his career. He's at the end of his rope. But if you're talking about bringing in a guy that knows the organization, could be a veteran presence, can maybe give you a little bit of something off the bench on a specific night in, night out, you're not going to get a whole lot. And look, if you have to play Paul Millsap, because John Collins is hurt, you have to start playing, let's say Millsap got 20 starts. It's probably way too much for him. So you have to obviously think about his role. But why not add a veteran like that? Give you another body positional guy, power forward guy, can come in, maybe give you a few points off the bench, grab you a few rebounds, can play a limited amount of minutes per night out there. And obviously kind of that feel good, hey, bring him back and let him be a part of all of this. I don't know what Millsap has left for his game. Can't tell you that I've spent a lot of time invested into watching what Paul Millsap is. And I'm sure there'll be all kinds of experts that tell me about what he is or what he isn't and really didn't get a chance to watch him very much. I do know he's basically 4 points and 4 rebounds, right? And if that's what I get out of him, that's what I get out of him. But you got to find a spot. You have to fill out one more roster spot. And at this point, you're looking at probably a low-cost veteran. And you're also looking at the idea of, okay, what's something that I need? I think that the Hawks feel like we've got enough backcourt guys, right? We've got enough guys in the backcourt, enough guys who can play guard, enough guys who can bring the ball up, right? And we got some bench scoring with Bogey coming off, this, that, and the other. Okay, hopefully if A.J. Griffin, which, by the way, the Hawks wrapped up their summer league, and A.J. Griffin didn't play at all because of some foot issue, okay? Even though he wasn't listed like as an injury or had any kind of procedure or anything like that, Griffin didn't play throughout. Okay, we may get into that at some point as well. Don't feel good when your first round draft pick is not available for your first summer league, and all we're getting is it's a foot problem, and we're not getting he had surgery. Now, I understand if he had surgery and had to recover and this, then the other, or had some kind of non-surgical procedure, right? I get all of that. I'd understand that, but he was held up because of a foot injury. Okay, all right. Again, we need guys like AJ Griffin that if they're going to be here on the roster, we need those guys to play and get ready to contribute and things like that. Hawks don't seem to have a very good run here over the last few years of drafting guys who stay healthy all the time. The Cam Reddishes and the DeAndre Hunters and guys like that. But anyway, we'll discuss that, at a future time and all that kind of stuff. But, the Hawks have one spot. Why not Paul Millsap? At this point, you're looking for a guy that can play in your front court. Your back court's good to go. You need a guy that needs to play in your front court at this point, right? We'll talk more about this here in just a second, but want to mention my folks over at Coffee AM sponsoring the show today. You know how I feel about these folks. Listen, they are the best small batch coffee brewer in America. They are local here to Georgia. They're up in Canton. Great company. Go online, coffeeam.com. You know how I feel about these folks. They sent us a care package, and I'm telling you, you open that thing up and the smell and the aroma. Whether you want organic fair trade coffees, you want darker roast, lighter roast, you want flavored coffees, you're looking for teas, you're looking for gift sets, everything that you need to fill up your coffee bin is at coffeeam.com. So head to coffeeam.com, and here's what we got going on for you right now, okay? If you head to coffeeam.com/lockedon, coffeeam.com/lockedon, take a look at their full inventory of products that they have available to you. Pick what you want for your first order, okay? And when you get to the checkout, put in that coupon code Locked On, LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON. Put Locked On at checkout, and you get 15% off your first order. Coffees, teas, gift sets, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Everything is available to you. Everything can be purchased out there, but 15% off of your first order if you use the code Locked On at checkout, LOCKEDON. Go to my friends at coffeeam.com, best small batch coffee brewer in America, and again, right here local in the state of Georgia. So, look, the Hawks kind of wrapped up this summer league season and this, that, and the other. Okay, you've got your roster in place. This is pretty much the group of guys that we're going to go to battle with. And where are the Hawks? And we'll get into some of these discussions here coming up over the next several weeks, just because as we get ready for training camp and different things like that for the Atlanta Hawks, there is going to be, I think, a pretty good amount of expectation that bringing in an all-star caliber player of DeJounte Murray, guy's a really good defensive player, obviously a terrific two-way player. He's a star, in the making if he's not already a star in the league. The expectation is going to be there. And, again, expecting development out of DeAndre Hunter, taking that next step forward, expecting these guys to be healthy. I need Capella. I need Hunter. I need Collins. I need those guys to be able to stay healthy and play all season long. So there is going to be a pretty good amount of expectation for this team. Do I think that the Hawks are Milwaukee, Miami, Boston right now? Are they right there at that tippy top of the Eastern Conference? Not quite sure that they're there just yet. Can they be? Yes. They have enough talent. They have enough players. If Collins, Hunter, Capella, if they can get out of those guys what they need and expect. I know what Murray is going to give me. I know what Trae Young is going to give me. And I think they have enough bench pieces. Let's say you add a Millsap in and you mix that in with Okongwu and Bogey. And you've got, obviously, Jalen Johnson and if Sharif Cooper's up and down and AJ Griffin. So you got a mix of, you can have some veterans with some young guys, a little bit of scoring punch coming off the bench with Bogey, some defensive help with Okongwu coming up, maybe a little bit of defensive help with Millsap, and a little bit of rebounding coming off the bench if they decide to add him in there. Obviously, you're hoping that AJ Griffin, if he can just be the three-point shooter that he was at Duke, there's another offensive piece out there. So the pieces and parts, I think, are there to get themselves in it. But right now, I probably put the Hawks in that group of Toronto, Chicago, right? That next tier, Philadelphia, right? That next group of guys of teams that are there. Obviously, the big wild card team is Brooklyn, right? That's the big wild card team in the Eastern Conference right now. Are they going to be a team that can't stay healthy and those guys don't all come together? or are they going to be a team that runs through the Eastern Conference because they've got all the star power, right? It's going to be fascinating. Going to be a lot of expectation for the Hawks, but Millsap might not be a bad piece to add into that final roster spot. We thank you so much for making Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery your first listen every day. Make my friends over at ATL Day Ones your second listen. That's my friends Jarvis Davis and Denise Batiste talking about all things in the heart of the city of Atlanta. Braves, Hawks, Falcons, Dogs, everything covered for you there. Free and available on our YouTube page, Locked On Sports Atlanta. Subscribe today. Leave us a comment. Also available on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Download it, 5-star review us, and then follow me on my Twitter page at JMCH316. Check out for some bonus content. We'll be at SEC Media Days later on today. This has been Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.